There you go.
Like how that happened this way. Realignment.
I've had some interesting questions. One being, somebody was a little confused about the plantation. They were told that
Yeah.
it was like a plantation, really.
Full of houses, full of
Oh
musicians.
my God.
It's amazing how things get blown out of proportion over the years, you know.
It was a very small house.
Yeah, very small.
One house.
One house, and they just called it the Plantation. It was one of many houses on Matilaha and some other streets. Delaney lived one block down and another block over, and Delaney and Bonnie, and Carl Rader lived a couple extra blocks down from there, and then Gary Gilmore lived way the hell on down the road.
Basically, it's the neighborhood.
The neighborhood, and the interstate was right on top of it.
Yep.
Yeah, a hell of a deal. J.J. Cale was in the garage apartment, him and Patsy
You might as
Camp.
well tell the story of the...
There's a lot of stories.
well, tell us a few.
I mean, we were up every night. We'd go up into Karstein's room, up in the top, and he had, I bet he had 1,000 45s, and we'd play 45s and smoke a little weed, you know, amyl nitrates and all kind of stuff. Welcome to Hollywood, you know. But I'd never seen anything like what was going on around there.
Amyl nitrate.
It was communal living. It was a lot of fun, you know.
Yeah.
And it was all musicians. Like in the one house was Indian Ed Davis, Chuck Blackwell, Jimmy Karstein, myself, K. Poor Boy, and Francine were in and out of there. Chuck Blackwell was running girls through in one door and out the window, you know, like rotation. He had a real sparky prime, you know. And, I've never seen anything like it. And then one-legged guy named Billy Doyle, and I didn't know he had a prosthetic leg until it fell out. I opened up one of my closets in my bedroom. I had a big round bed, and a prosthetic leg fell out on top of me. And I didn't know, what the hell is this? And he come down the stairs. That's mine. And he had boxer shorts on, so he had one leg, one leg missing. And I went, I'll be damned. So that was why, because my little dog was always yanking on his pants and gnawing on his foot and stuff, and he wasn't saying anything. I figured he was just being,
nice.
Nice to my little dog. No, he had a wooden leg, and it was quite the house, man. And everybody had everybody, and then J.J. Cale and Patsy Camp in the garage apartment in the back. Oh hell, it was something. It was an eye-opening experience for me. That's for
Taj
sure.
Mahal there too.
He came through all the time. See, I moved off of Delaney's and Bonnie's couch in Hawthorne into the Plantation. Jimmy Karstein said, I got an extra room, you can have it, it's got a big round bed. I said, okay. And so I was off into the world, just had whatever I was on my back, and the real few dollars I was getting paid, the $5 a night from Delaney.
What about the shootout at the Plantation?
It wasn't much of a shootout. Junior Markham was coming back, and his girlfriend, I think, was Francine. And she was seeing somebody, I think it might have been Chuck Blackwell or somebody like that. And, Junior showed up. People were always showing up and sliding in the drive, it's fresh out of Tulsa, hot drive all 2 days, and it was a hell of a deal. And here come, who was it out there with that 22? It was a 22, and it went off by accident, and it went through the garbage can, a little show of bravado. and it went through the garbage can. And that turned out to be Shootout at the Plantation, a Leon Russell song. Yeah, the story, he just, made it bigger, Heaven help Mr. Swan. That was a man that owned the house. Karstein leased it or got it, and then he got all of us.
Oh my God, the landlord must have.
Oh, the landlord, Mr. Swan.
Did he mind you all being there?
No, he knew everybody was pretty cool, They knew we were just trying to spreading our wings, in the world. And Carl, he had a Triumph Bonneville, and his girlfriend's name was Judy, and his dog was a red setter named
Dixie.
Named Dixie.
Well, you mentioned that in the last.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to tell the story of Shootout of the Plantation, and that's part of it. All these musicians, because we rehearsed Delaney and Bonnie and Friends in the living room there, and everybody knew about it, and everybody was, in Hollywood wanted to come see Delaney and Bonnie. Everybody who was anybody. Mama Cass came to the Plantation. Bobby Keys had a thing with Mama Cass for a little while. But she came to the Plantation. Just about every big actors and all these people showing up,
Well, as a matter of fact, what?
Eddie James, Edward James Olmos. He lived directly across the street from Delaney and Bonnie, and his wife's dad was Howard Keel. Oklahoma. So man, it was like Hollywood,
Well, yeah, you were in Hollywood.
Yeah, Michael Parks came over. Oh yeah,
Michael Parks.
Oh, he was big. He and Delaney were thick as thieves.
No, I knew Michael Parks.
Yeah.
He ended up being super nice and.
Yeah. He lived in an orchard or something in the valley.
Well, he had those avocado. He was in the middle of an avocado orchard. It was a beautiful place, just a tiny little house.
Yeah.
But it was very cool. And then my friends across the street from me ended up buying that place.
Yeah.
And,
but it was really quite an experience. But all these people they weren't really from Hollywood. They were from Tulsa. Delaney, he was from Pontotoc, Mississippi.
Well, in those days, everybody was going to
they were moving,
Hollywood, and you guys.
I had never been on west of the Mississippi River.
Right, so anybody from the South, it was like this looked at as a very weird thing.
Oh,
but
yeah.
If you're from Southern California, you didn't look at it.
Well, if you went to if you were from Memphis and you went to Hollywood, you say, "Well, he's done gone Hollywood,"
That sounds so weird. Well, there were a lot of things that people would not do in those days that nowadays is wide open, like doing Las Vegas. You wouldn't be seen dead.
No, hell no. Even think
Las
about
Vegas.
that.
Are you kidding
Now
me?
it's a big deal.
Now everybody plays Vegas.
Yeah. You can always count on a full house and a great sound system.
And a full pocket full of money.
Yeah. I mean, even when I had my farm in Mississippi, I went over down into the Delta and played casino there. And it's a great gig, Joe Cocker played there.
Well, as a matter of fact, that's where I saw, who was it that, dang, it'll come to me in a moment. I hate that one when I get a brain loss.
Run over by a train of thought.
Kelvin played with him. Little Richard.
Little Richard, Richard played there.
I saw Little Richard in some offshoot casino in California.
Well,
yeah, this was like after you and I were together.
Yeah.
I had to go back to California to do something, and went and saw,
Richard.
Yeah, it was weird.
I was glad to have been around him for the short time I was. 'Cause he played with us on the Delaney Bonnie thing. 20-minute version.
What was that like? Seeing we're getting into that. What was it like to play with Little Richard?
Well, it was great. Well, we went to see him at this place in Miami. Atlantic had us, Delaney and Bonnie, and it was Tom and Dad had us at Criteria and working on the album. It turned out to be to Bonnie from Delaney, And there's a whole lot of stuff I could talk about that experience, you know. A lot of stories that are not, some of them not so savory, you know,
Well, you know,
and
you
happy. But I mean, it's part of that rock and roll thing. But we went to see Little Richard one night at Flamingo or someplace like this. I'm not for sure. And we went to see Richard, had this prime thing, and went backstage before, and it was like a hotel, you know. So we went into his hotel room, and he had this guy looking after him, and he said, "Percy, get me my bag, man," and, you know. And Percy, get me this. Percy, do that, you know. And with Delaney, Bonnie, and me, we were back, you know, in Little Richard's room, and said he was going to come play with us after his show. And so we was getting to know him, hello, you know. And he did a jam up. Of course, Delaney's standing in the audience singing, and God dang. But, you know, he had to let his presence be known
just
there.
Just like the Ray Charles show.
You know, same thing. And but we went back, you know, and we left this concert early, went on back to the thing, and he showed up in a limo and walked in, and he said, "Tutti Frutti," you know. And counted it off, sat down and just started playing. And he played a 20-minute version. And they just threw in so much stuff. And then they cut it up and made it into something that would work.
A medley of sorts,
yeah. Oh, it's great. But he did the one thing, quit, and left. That was it. Yeah. It was great though. Little Richard, having him come play with us was quite an experience. You know, big hands, you know. For me, he validated what I was doing, and the simplicity that
on the piano.
On piano. But the simplicity that I used in my approach to playing piano, you know, like real loose and not schooled at all, like Little Richard, you know, Jerry Lee Lewis, Fats Domino, you know, Ray Charles. I mean, and I'm sure somebody's going to say Ray was schooled and all this. I don't care. You can just write and tell me whatever you want. But my whole thing was, like I said, it validated, made it okay with me to play as simple as I do, you know. Because I know there are people that wish they could play simple and get the point across, you know. But they got to go real flowery to get to just right here, you know. Got to go all over the place to get right there, you know. It's like maybe wishing you didn't know so much, you know. Maybe your schooling got in your way of your life, you know, and your thinking got in your way of thinking, you know. We read this book. I read it the other night to us, and it's very small. It's As a Man Thinketh, and boy, I tell you, when I read this thing, it's like it just. It too validated feelings that I had on my own that I never expressed, you know. And it's for sure everything that's out here come from a thought. Somebody had to come up with it, you know.
Good book.
It's a really.
It's a life changer for sure.
It is for sure. Sky King.
Sky King.
Sky King is the man. But. Yeah, the original guy that was the radio, Sky King.
Earl Nightingale.
I guess Earl Nightingale.
He had mentioned it on his one of his shows.
Yeah, I think he just. You know, sometimes people just have an awakening. You know, something hits them and it clicks. You know, and you go, "Why, Lord, yes." So I mean, you can change your life by the way you think. It's just you know, I mean, you can get yourself real sick just by thinking yourself into it, you know, or real well, you know, and your whole life can do a complete turnaround, or it can put some really a credible understanding about what you're doing and the way you're living your life living one way, and this is where my dollar comes, but my heart is here, but my bank account's there, but my heart is here. And it's like this constant war, and none of them ever get fulfilled. Nothing ever gets fulfilled. And then when you realize that where your heart's desire, that should have been there, and everything else would have fallen in place, and will fall in place, and everything, for me personally, everything in my life has started to fall in place. It seemed disjointed for decades. I was just bouncing off the one. I was worse than a damn pinball machine. It was bang, 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 bang. But I really, I don't know. It wasn't until it just happened, and then I had to follow my heart, and when I started painting.
I sent you a book, and something clicked with that particular book. And since you and I have been
that
together,
was a long time ago.
I know, but since you and I have been together, we've always read this sort of material, which
enlightening.
A lot of spiritually minded sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Not like today it's very different, but back when we were reading all these things, people thought we were crazy.
Yeah. That's quite all right. People have been thinking I was crazy before, when I was young. So,
the thing is, nowadays everybody is reading that material. And
everybody's trying to find some solace. Find solitude.
Because the world is a crazy place. And
and the world is a crazy place.
I think the pandemic has really brought a lot of this, to a head.
Yeah.
And that's why people are even more.
If you start having good thoughts, if you think good things, good things will come your way. Because what you put out is what comes back. And that's for sure. You can't put out apples and expect grapes back, because that ain't gonna happen that way. And whatever you put out comes back to you. Mine would be fresh baked apple pie. I can see it right now. But I don't know how I zoomed off into this, but I'm glad I did. It's worthwhile. It's worthwhile. Talking about the soul, there you go. Talking about soul music, talking about your soul. That's a real thing. That's when stacked back in the day, as they say. That was for real. All that soul music. That wasn't something that they were just something pretentious and they were pulling out of the air. No, it was a real deal, Homer Banks, whoa, what a great writer. Betty Crutcher, Cropper, Duck, Al Jackson, Booker T, Isaac Hayes and David Porter, Otis Redding, Albert King, Carla Thomas, Rufus. I'm talking about, that's just my roots, Yeah. And I'm glad I fell off the edge of this and started talking about it. Because I'm at peace. I am. I'm at peace with myself. I'm at peace with the world, and I believe that when people are that, this is it. You get one shot at it. I'm gonna go out looking good. I know that. I always had a choice, You could either dress down or dress up. I always thought, well, hell, I've chopped a lot of cotton, I want to dress up,
Right.
I want to look right. I don't want to leave the house. Something might happen, have clean underwear and clean socks on, looking good, And, anyway. It was silly. It was fun anyway.